Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Time to Shine. We are on episode 12 now, amazingly.
Holy smokes.
Oh, we are going right along. Again, I am Adrian, also known as Northern Star on Twitter, and I'm not joined alone. You heard my lovely co-host Mike there with his sultry tones.
what a compliment. I love that. That's I would hope it's sultry. I hope it's not grating for our fine listeners out there. But
we're
yes,
going for sultry here.
We're always going for sultry. Yes, it is your old pal Mike, aka the Berry Truck, back once again for some more Time to Shine action. And again, I say this pretty much at the start of every episode we do, but I feel like we've got a pretty big one today, my friend.
We do. Now, I know we can't swear on this podcast, but this is where stuff gets real on Shining Time. I feel
stuff hits the fan this episode. we won't go on, but yes, you can fill in the blanks.
It's intense, man. It's a different viewing experience. I mean, do you find that too?
Yeah, it's very, again, we alluded to it in the last couple episodes, but you really start to see a bit of a shift in tone in the later half of season 1. So this is it. This is really I would say the episodes we're going to be looking at today are definitely the peak of that shift in tone, for sure.
Yes, gone are the fun and games of yesteryear, and here is the threat of closure, of, firing.
Closure in the literal sense, and by the end of the last episode that we talk about today, closure in the metaphorical sense.
Well done, I say. Well done, old chap.
I'm very worried, Harry. The railroad told us the repairs would be done in 3 days. It's already been 6 days, and they're still not finished.
Well, the repair crews are doing the best they can, and people have to travel in safety.
I know, but the main office sends us a new schedule practically every day. The Indian Valley Railroad has to understand that a train schedule is like a promise, and a promise has to be kept, whether it's made by a person or a railroad. We gotta come up with something to help our passengers.
Would you like to tell us a bit about our first episode, episode 15 here?
I certainly would, my friend. The first episode we are going to be looking at here is titled Promises, Promises. You can almost just say it with that sort of eye roll in your voice, can't you? Like,
it kind of tells it gives you the whole feel.
Oh, it sure does. Yeah, it's once we're done with this episode description, you will find it as a very apt title indeed. The crux of this episode here is that repairs are taking place on the railroad, and they are taking much longer than planned, which unfortunately is leading to some delays and scheduling nightmares. Stacy and Harry are quite concerned by this, and they come up with a little idea that they think will get things back on track and make the passengers happy. Only snag in the plan is that they both want to go and present these ideas to Mr. J.B. King Esquire, but they can't leave Matt and Tanya alone in the station. And what better option to do here, rather than send them home to their parents, we have no other choice but to leave them in the care of our good friend, Schemer? Probably not the best idea, and wah. As you can imagine, as things usually tend to go with Schemer, it doesn't take long for things to go awry. Schemer immediately starts neglecting his duties. He does not phone the switchman to let him know to change the trains onto the right track. He is promised that he will not leave Matt and Tanya alone, but lo and behold, he does indeed. And when he returns, he has a good friend with him, Tony, the mover, who has brought some new machines in Schemer's bid to take over the station and convert it into a pure-blooded arcade. Unfortunately, around this time, J.B. King arrives with Stacy and Harry, very angry at being delayed and sent onto the wrong track because, of course, the switchman wasn't notified. and made even angrier by the fact that no one seems to be watching the station except for Matt and Tanya. Schemer arrives back only to make things worse, and Mr. King demotes the station to secondary branch line trains, effectively taking away everything that Stacy and the gang have worked so hard for throughout the season up to this point. And it is during the end of the episode where the gang all comes together and decides that why wait for tomorrow to make a change? They have to start today if they have any hope of getting their station back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
pun intended.
My friend, again, we have talked about the shift in tone of the last half of this season, but boy, this is like an avalanche, isn't it?
I know. It is. I mean, at least it ends on like a semi-ish positive note, but this was a rough one for me as a kid to watch. I remember feeling like distressed, visibly distressed.
Yes, 100%.
Just with the stakes and with Stacy getting so upset. And yeah, I struggled a bit with it, to be honest, because it's not the same kind of loving, lesson learning in a way that isn't so dire. And here, it really feels threatening, I think.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that, too. I mean, it almost sort of lulls you into... I don't want to say a false sense of security, but, it starts out kind of like your typical Shining Time Station episode. You've got, the thing that's sort of a minor problem. They've got a solution and they know how they're going to fix it. And you can tell through Schemer's antics that, there's going to be trouble. But usually when there's been trouble before, it hasn't been all that serious. But the moment J.B. King steps into that station, you know that it is serious this time.
You do. And his characterization was like, he was pretty mean at first, like very stern. He didn't have any of that sort of like, he didn't have the warmth that we also get to know. He was pretty intense off the bat. And his black suit, he's very imposing, very threatening. And
and it's interesting too, because I think at this point, we've only ever, you've heard his voice on the phone earlier in the season, and you know that Stacy's had a conversation with him over the phone when there's the threat of Harry's workshop actually closing down. But this is the first time that we actually see him. And I mean, you are correct. He definitely doesn't have the same characterization that he does in the later seasons, especially in season 3. I mean, if you compare the two, it's like night and day. But really, I mean, credit to Mart Halswit for his acting, because he sells the angry, stern J.B. King, doesn't he?
I'm a busy man, Miss Jones. I don't like being kept on a siding all day because somebody here didn't notify the train dispatcher.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, in order to meet with you, we had to leave someone else in charge of the station.
It appears you have left 2 children in charge of the station, Miss Jones.
Oh, no, sir. We left someone else in charge. Where's Schemer?
He really does. He did a great job. And now Mart he's known for his other role on Guiding Light. So he was on that soap for, I think, something like 11 or 12 years, for a long time. And he's done a lot of theater, a lot of stage shows. I was fortunate enough to meet with him recently. We were chatting, and he's done theater most of his life. Even when he was shooting Shining Time, he was also doing plays, often simultaneously. So it's interesting to know that that's his background. But you're right, he does a great job. And I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that J.B. King starts off as stern, and then we get to know that by the end of this season that he has this like fascination with Mr. Conductor. And that is enough for him to recognize the specialness of Shining Time and keep it open. Not to give anything away. I mean, you guys have probably all seen that episode. But,
yes, of course. Yeah, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but it is interesting to note that it definitely within the same season, not that many episodes after this one, we will get the one where we already start to see the softening of Mr. King, and he kind of starts changing into what we know more down the road from this character.
Which I think we need. We need to see him as a rounded character. If he was just this like angry barking person throughout the entire series, it would get pretty tiring, I think, overall. Yes. But it's interesting. You were mentioning the beginning of the episode. I think the beginning is even different from how a lot of them start. I mean, they're having a serious conversation about train schedules and in, Harry's workshop, and there's no jokey, no playful, no Mr. C. Like, it's right off the bat, like, we have to figure out how to help our passengers. So right off the bat, I think you're sort of like, oh, ooh.
Yeah, I would agree. You still get some of the lightheartedness with, obviously the kids and Ringo in there, but you can definitely tell that Stacy and Harry are legitimately concerned about what's happening. And, even in the more humorous moments where, I always think of the bit where they call everyone into Harry's office and Ringo sparkles in and he's dressed up as the judge calling the special meeting. And, it's obviously very, very comedic, but Harry just goes, I wish you'd warned me when you were about to do that. So, like, even he's on edge about this whole situation.
Also, side note, did you notice how on point Mr. C's outfits are in this episode?
Oh, so many great outfit changes.
I know. Like, from the judge to the gladiator to his thinking cap to, like, the cowboy hat. I was just like, whoa, yes, yes, yes.
Do you think this is where the genesis of all George's Mr. Conductor outfits came from? Because really, like, Ringo's had some varying outfits throughout the season, but nothing that's been, too outlandish up to this point. I mean, he's had his tennis outfit, he's had his little chef's hat on.
That's true, yeah.
All that stuff. But here we get, he's dressed as a judge, and then he's a gladiator, and then he's a cowboy, and, it's just... It feels like they're starting to loosen the reins on how Mr. Conductor could be presented in a way.
Yes, and I think it's good, especially for this episode, because again, it's more comedic relief for the viewers. It's when he's in the gladiator outfit and it's like, let him come, I'll fight him. That's a lot for Ringo's Mr. C, who is the shyest person in the world. And he's wearing
let him come, but not just yet.
I know, but not just yet, please. His little like helmet, and I'm like, oh go, he's
so cute.
He is sweet, and yeah. Oh man, do you have any other kind of like initial impressions from when you watch this again?
I mean, yeah, the thing that really strikes me, and again, I think it adds to the whole feel of this being a totally different type of episode for the series thus far, but even Schemer really, like, he's gone from the lighthearted kind of goofball who cares more about his arcade and his money than anything else, but I would never call him malicious or anything like that, but he's got a real edge this episode.
Yeah.
There's a very weird I don't even know how to really pinpoint it, but just the way that he has sort of reckless abandon about being in the station and being in charge, and not putting two and two together that if something happens to the station, something could happen to his arcade just yet. It feels like he's very, I guess reckless would be kind of the word, which I guess is the point.
Yeah.
But,
and all, like, is part of him getting revenge because he feels like left out and wished his arcade was doing better? Like, it's his act is spiteful almost.
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, not to mention, like, not calling the train dispatcher and the danger of that, but just, like, he doesn't give a, what about his actions.
Yeah. I mean, not calling the dispatcher and, leaving Matt and Tanya all on their lonesome in a big train station. That, and then even then, with bringing in the machines from Tony and, it's just, he definitely has a different sort of angle to him this episode, I feel.
He does. And, like, I can't believe Stacy and Harry's bad judgment, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We've gotten to know this character in the past, however many episodes. It was like a serious lapse in judgment. so much so where I question, are they okay?
Yeah.
Do you know? Like,
Yeah.
in watching it again, I was like, wow. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
After all he's done, you're going to leave kids with him and trust him with calling a train dispatcher. And I'm like, wow, no. So it was a big mistake on their part.
Yeah, it really was. And in saying that, I almost wondered if there was a way that you could rewrite this episode so that it doesn't look like they've just had this giant lapse in judgment. Like, it could be something like, they come up with the plan. Stacy decides she's going to go to the head office and talk to Mr. King.
Yeah.
Harry's left in charge, and you could even write it that Schemer, I don't know, comes up with some crazy scheme to get Harry distracted and get him away from the station. And then he starts bringing his machines in, and the dispatcher doesn't get called. Something like that. I don't know.
I like that more because let's say Stacy and Harry deliberate and they decide Stacy will go, considering she's the station master. And then Harry is left to tend to the station and take care of the kids because she's left them alone with him before, or she does in future episodes. And then let's say there's a broken signal on one of the tracks near the station or something. And Harry has to step out of the station because if he doesn't fix it, there's going to be, even more scheduling delays. And so he's like, Schemer, I'm only going to be gone for like an hour tops. And I wouldn't normally ask you this, but just keep an eye on the kids and just hold down the fort. I'll be right back. That is more believable to me.
Yeah, and I like that angle too, because that kind of plays it as they're not willingly letting Schemer have control of the station. Their hands are sort of being forced at this point. So
there you go. Yep.
Yeah. See, look at that. Workshopping with time to shine.
I love it. Well, and I also, I love, because you have all that writing background, but yeah, that was a moment where I was like, that feels a little out of character. I don't think Stacy would be that foolish, because she's seen his schemes and knows that he would likely take advantage of the situation, as he does with
100%.
most things, right?
Yeah.
If he's in a situation where something is being left or whatever, he's like, aha, So, that could have been written a bit differently, I think.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's...
but, we don't blame them.
We certainly don't. The hindsight's 2020. The point of the episode still got across either way, but
it does.
A little bit of the execution.
I agree. I do like that we do see some of Schemer's silliness with the other characters a bit, or with himself. I love when Schemer hugs Harry in the workshop when he's like the caring, loving side, and Harry the look of horror on Harry's face is so Harry's. I don't know if you noticed, but Harry's reactions in this episode are quite great.
Yes,
he's a great reactor to his fellow cast members. Even at the end when JB King leaves and the look of shock on Harry's face, I always remember that. He really, people always say acting is reacting, and he really does that well. Also, just Schemer being Schemer when he puts on Stacey's cap and then, he's on the phone. He yells at the passenger on the phone through the earpiece, not through the actual talking part of the phone. So it's still Schemer,
It still is, yeah. Brian still slips in those little schemerisms that it's nice little attention to detail. I mean, I know when we chatted with him, he said that series 1 they were still sort of kind of figuring out the proper comedic angle with Schemer, but even in these little actions like that, like little blink and you'll miss it sort of details, he's still portraying the character that we would come to see in the next few seasons. Yeah,
for sure. So good work there.
Well done, Brian. We applaud you.
Well done.
Shall we chat about the Thomas stories this time?
Let's take a gander.
Let's take a little gander here. We, as per the status quo of the first season of Shining Time, we have 2 Thomas stories this time. The first of which is Better Late Than Never, which is our second Christopher Audrey story. I believe we had Thomas Percy and Nicole a few episodes back. In this episode, there are similar delays happening on the island of Sodor. The viaduct is under repair, and the big engines have to go very slow when crossing over it, which of course leads to Thomas being rather upset when they arrive late at his junction. It causes a bit of a rift between Thomas and Bertie, but eventually it does them some good when Bertie is found broken down on the side of the road. And Thomas, being late, luckily is in time to rescue his stranded passengers, and they decide that being late is not such a bad thing after all. After that, we get the start of probably one of the most notable batch of episodes in the early series. We've got Pop Goes the Diesel. And in this one here, we have Duck the Great Western Engine, who we had previously seen taking over pilot duties for Percy at the big station. He's very proud of being Great Western, much to the annoyance of the big engines. And when a visitor named Diesel arrives, yes, that's right, a diesel engine named Diesel, very inventive, there is some trouble that brews. Duck and Diesel butt heads a little bit. Diesel doesn't think he needs to be shown how to do anything, so Duck leaves him to his own devices, only for Diesel to take some trucks that he is not meant to, makes a fool of himself, and all the trucks sing a little rendition of Pop Goes the Weasel, but substituted as Pop Goes the Diesel, which leaves him fuming. What did you think of these ones, my friend?
Well, I know Better Late Than Never is a controversial story in the fandom, in terms of like a lot of people hating on it. I really enjoy it, personally. I like that it's slower paced. There are a lot of things I like about it. I like seeing Thomas being really pissed off with his angry face and red and like hissing, with anger. James pulling into Ellsbridge. And I think there's a bit of nostalgia in it for me because that scene of Bertie breaking down with Thomas is on the back of my VHS tape that I had as a kid, which was, I think, Better Late Than Never and Other Stories. So I enjoy kind of slice of life Sodor stories, and this really feels like that. The viaduct being repaired, the viaduct theme, I think is really, I always love that opening scene, just seeing all the various trains going over the viaduct with, their different rolling stock and the very industrial season 2 feel. So it's great for me. And then of course, Pop Goes the Diesel. I love the Diesel and Duck trilogy from season 2. I think it was a defining moment in this series where it showed that they could raise the stakes and still be really great and wonderful storytelling. It could still be edgy, but follow through and have a good conclusion. So it's exciting to me that this is the beginning of that. And then I'm very grateful, because I was really bothered in the later series how they broke up the trilogy, that the trilogy, the following 2 episodes, the conclusion of it, are in the next episode. So but I enjoy both.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy both as well. I certainly will not slander Better Late Than Never, because our dear head honcho of the Right on Track podcast, Tom Denham, will have my head on a stake if I do.
Yes, it was the big debate, right?
It was, yeah. That was the episode that broke the Right on Track screw, if I remember properly. Whoops. Well, it won't break us. We're on pretty much the same page here. I've probably told this story before, but I remember when I was a kid, I never actually owned the Better Late Than Never VHS. I used to just rent it all the time from Blockbuster whenever we went, like over and over and over again. So it was just like, the episodes always felt like a treat to me whenever like I got to watch them, because it was like, oh, you only have a weekend to watch them or something like that, and then you don't know when you're going to see them again. So it's always, I still get that kind of feel of like strange nostalgia for the episodes that make up that VHS, which conveniently are all in order on the airing of Shining Time Series 1. Yes, Better Late Than Never. I agree. It's a much more slice of life story. It's definitely a lot simpler, but that's not a bad thing. That opening shot with the viaduct and seeing all the different trains going across it, it was just a really fun opportunity to show off some of the model work there and really show what they were capable of so early on. I mean, looking at that, the viaduct set with all the scaffolding and stuff on it. Like, it's just so cool.
Isn't it delicious?
It really is. It's a nice little flavor, and I like that scaffolding stays in place for a bit of the season as well, too. Like, you see it in other episodes.
Wonderful attention to detail, especially given that they were filming everything on that set in sequence and would have had to splice it all together with the other episodes. I also love just things like the log truck going across with those big logs and the chain holding them down on the flatbed. It's good.
That whole train that Edward pulls in the last shot, like he's got coaches in there. He's got the flatbed with the logs. There's other trucks in there. It's so cool. I really like it.
Yeah. I like when they switched up the consists. It made it way more interesting when you saw, a coach paired with something you wouldn't normally see. It made it interesting and more realistic, I think.
I think so, too. I do wish sometimes that they had played around a little bit more with those, but when they do show up, it's a very nice little visual treat for you, for sure. And as you said, seeing a spicier Thomas is always fun. Season 2 is the home of the spicy Thomas, so we get treated a lot of times here.
We love to see it.
Don't blame me, snorted Henry. If we hurried across the viaduct, it might collapse. And then you'd have no passengers at all. What would you do then? Run my train on time, for one thing, retorted Thomas. He hurried away before Henry could answer.
And, you really can't go wrong when you've got a Thomas and Bertie story. That's usually a winning combo, I think. And, it is, you can tell that there is maybe some credence to the theory that this is what replaced the missing coach as another season 2 episode, because there seems to be probably more stock footage in this one. And it definitely feels like it may have been cobbled together, especially with little details like when James arrives, and I think he's supposed to have coaches with him, but he's got trucks, and he says something about it being a guaranteed connection for Thomas, and things like that don't make much sense. So maybe it was just like a last minute, like, thrown together thing. But if that's the case, then it works very well. So kudos to them for that.
Well, and that's the tricky thing. I mean, if it's last minute thrown together, I see what you mean. Yeah. I mean, they would have had to still film, all the, I guess they could do some pickups maybe on certain sets, but would be challenging the way that Thomas is filmed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It could have been tricky to get some of those other ones. So having those
for those who aren't aware of how Thomas was filmed, a lot of people think it was like a giant train set, which it was not. It was individual sets, which were constructed, and then they would shoot all the required scenes from the entire series on that one set. So meanwhile, they would be building another set. They'd finish shooting all those scenes and then move on to the new set, and so on and so forth, and then have to splice it all together in a giant sort of jigsaw. So it required a lot of careful planning to film a 26 episode series.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would really love to see. I know we've seen scripts before, but I would really love to see like a shooting schedule from the earlier seasons, just to see how they prioritize certain sets and how they mapped out what they were going to film. It would just be so cool to have a peek into the mind of David Mitton.
Because you'd have to storyboard everything so thoroughly, make a list of all the required sets, and hope that you don't forget to shoot a scene. Because if you did for some reason, you'd have to go whip up another set, and that would take time. And as we know, it was a very expensive series to film. So
it sure was, yeah. And we've seen some of the concept artwork and the storyboards from Robert Goldgalliers. So they definitely did not skimp out on the details in the early stages, for sure. So
no, absolutely not.
Yeah, and then of course we have Pop Goes the Diesel, which is just, as you said, it's the start of probably the most famous trilogy of episodes in the early season. And it's just such a great story. It mashes really well with the Shining Time episode, of course. Both episodes do.
Yeah.
But especially when you're really getting into the thick of Schemer's madness and his more antagonistic side, then having an antagonistic Engine character showing up, I think that really does a service for the viewers. And I've always really loved Ringo's performance in Pop Goes the Diesel. I love the pained voice that he gives the trucks. I love his little growls for Diesel, and You know, his little sing song.
Oh.
That's, you know what? That's the thing. If they had done these episodes in season 1 of Thomas, I don't think we would have got the same vocal performance, because Ringo definitely lets a little more loose in series 2.
He does. He has a bit of fun with it.
He does. Yeah, I think he just settled into his role a little bit better.
Yeah.
So we definitely benefited from that for sure.
Yeah. You know what I kind of wish, to be honest, that I had seen season 1 first back in the day, because I watched season 2 of Shining Time first, which means I saw, I think it was Dirty Work in like early on in season 2 of Shining Time, and then they separated all the other stories, and George does a quick summary of how everything was all right in the end after that. But I wish I had sort of seen this and the whole trilogy in its entirety. Yeah,
it's as you said, it's definitely a shame that the later seasons, I mean, as a byproduct of not being able to do the episodes in strict order, you know, they did have to split Thomas stories up. And so I think, it definitely, if I'm remembering correctly, I mean, you get Dirty Work in the second episode of season 2, Pop Goes the Diesel is somewhere else in that season, and then you don't get a close shave until midway through season 3. So
exactly, not till what is it, Billy Saves the Day, I think.
So it's just unfortunately,
or the Billy's Runaway Train, sorry.
That's the one. Right.
Yeah.
So
he does save the day as well, but
he does. Yes, it's the titles are a little interchangeable there, but that's okay.
They are.
It's I don't get that vibe as much with other Thomas episodes that might be like a 2-parter per se, but I feel like breaking up the Duck and Diesel trilogy definitely does it a disservice. It's definitely something that you kind of have to watch, you know, sequentially in one go too. So
I agree.
Yeah, that's the truth of it all. So yes, we've got some great Thomas stories. We also have a great little jukebox segment. We've got the Jukebox Band doing Oh Susanna.
I came from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. I'm going to Louisiana, there my true love I will see.
What did you think of this one?
To be honest, I could take it or leave it. With this song, I think Jonathan does a great performance as Tito.
Yes,
and it's a really fun song. But to me, just a little unremarkable. How about you?
It's not my favorite of season 1. It's certainly not a bad rendition they do. I quite like the little variances and how they approach the verses and how they switch up the feel. And of course, I mean, the thing that sells it for me is always Jonathan doing Tito's voice when he gets a little lazy on the vocal delivery and he adds a little bit of that cool jazz feel to it, you know? Like, you really can't beat that. Jonathan is a master of that when Tito is kind of allowed to shine front and center with these songs. But overall, I would say not the worst one of season 1, but not a standout for me by any means.
Agreed.
Yes.
Oh, just on the subject of the music, I found the music quite ominous in this episode, actually, listening to it again.
I agree.
To amp up the seriousness of how things are going, especially, you know, near the end, and, you know, with Stacy speaking to Schemer. I have to hand it to Dee Dee as well. I think she gave a great performance in this episode. Like, you really get to see her kind of, you know, was not bust her acting chops. I don't know what the right term would be, but you get to see her. You get to see her shine and do something dramatic. You see her furious, and then you see her almost despairing, kind of, and then, you know, making full circle to, like, don't let us get this down, or don't let this get us down. There we go.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we all obviously love Dee Dee as, you know, the status quo Stacey Jones, the very cheerful, you know, teachable sort of character. But when she is given scenes like these ones where she has to do, you know, a more serious tone, or she has to be, you know, angry, or even later towards the end of the season when she has to be legitimately sad in the last episode. these other emotions that we don't very much get to see her do as Stacy, she nails it every single time. And it really does help with the immersion of the show and makes you feel like these are real characters. These are real people. Like, it's not just some, hokey, happy-go-lucky kid show. Like, they've got real moments in it too.
Yeah. And she cares, like, you get the sense she cares deeply about the station. She's worked hard all season to build it up. And then in one fell swoop, it could be dashed.
Yes.
I would be distraught. I mean, we've seen her in her ups and downs and all the scheduling stuff and they have to prove themselves. They get more trains. There's an interesting little not blooper, but little moment where she says, where she's, speaking to Schemer, kind of berating him. And she says, like, you forgot to call Mr. Train Dispatcher.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she is accidentally about to say Mr. King, but she glosses right over it and just continues. Did you notice that?
I did notice that, but you know what? It didn't feel like... I guess that's just a testament to Dee Dee's acting, is it didn't really feel out of place. She saved it.
Oh,
on
absolutely.
The fly.
Oh, yeah. And you'll see if you've seen these episodes as much as we have, you'll notice a lot of little things where there'll be little bloopers or the cast making little mistakes or whatever, but they just keep going. And because the performance is good, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be perfect,
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect on a sitcom. But as a kid, I was like, Mr. Train Dispatcher. I remember being like a bit puzzled by that. And I'm like, oh, obviously she just, made that little, but she just kept going. And it was probably the best take, I would think.
Probably,
performance-wise.
I mean, those
and
would have been
it doesn't
very,
really matter, but little
very,
thing there.
very intense scenes to perform. So, yeah, I can imagine that maybe they had only limited takes that they could do, because I reckon that would take a lot out of you.
Well, yeah, and interestingly, I don't know how many of you have heard this, but Dee Dee has done a few podcasts, and on one of them, she talked about her method for doing, calling up emotions authentically in her acting roles, and she said she keeps a little box of little index cards, and on each index card is written sort of the emotion, and then she links it to a memory. So she'll go through this, or in the past, she would go through this box, find the emotion that I guess she needed to convey in that scene, the associated memory, and then that's how she would perform often. So I just found that to be an interesting... I was curious about actors' methods, and that was one of hers that she learned over the years. So kind of cool, hey?
Well, it certainly pays off, because boy, does she sell it.
She does.
She definitely... I mean, it's a treat to watch her, whatever emotion that she is portraying. But when she gets into the more serious ones, it's... Yeah, you can tell she's not skimping out. She's giving it her all.
Schemer, you broke every one of your promises. Not only did you leave these children alone here, but you had the nerve not to call Mr. Train Dispatcher about the broken signal, and Mr. King was stuck on a siding for an hour along with us, and then you bring in all this junk?
Now, here's a little fun, well, I don't know if I would say fun, but trivia nonetheless. This episode is so jammed-packed with, emotional beats and big plot points that we don't even have time for the picture machine or the anything tunnel.
That's true.
Did you notice that?
No.
Look, yeah, that's I upon rewatching, I thought, something's missing here.
right, and because it does have two Thomas stories, that's interesting. Yeah, it lacks a lot of those normal components, as well as there's no kids activities either.
That's right.
In this one, so it's a different kind of episode for sure. Very dramatic. It's more focusing on that, I think.
Yeah, and I do almost like that there wasn't anything from the picture machine or the anything tunnel or even the activities, because I feel like it's too serious of a story for anything like that to sort of butt in. Like, I don't know what you would pick from the picture machine that could play into this,
And what would you have the kids make, like help signs or something, or Schemer is appropriating the station and they're just totally helpless. What are they?
Well, now I can just picture them making help us, we're trapped in here signs and pasting them up on the station window as the trains go by.
You know what they'd be doing? They'd be using the telegraph to send out an SOS to the stations from like what they learned a couple episodes ago.
Exactly.
Save us, alone with Schemer, please send help.
It's a good thing we learned to fix this telegraph machine, isn't it?
Right? Oh dear.
Oh man. Did you have any other trivia for us? I know trivia is usually your bag here.
I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to trivia, so I'm going to nerd out a little bit here. There's a small thing but noticeable. So I recently did a replica of the Arrivals Departures board as a project, which was really fun. A lot of work and took about half a year, but it turned out really well. I'm really pleased with it. If you guys want to see it, it's on my Twitter. You can go have a look. But you hear Ringo refer to Logan's Wash in the beginning of the episode when they are doing jump rope and stuff. On the board, it is actually spelled Logan Wash, which is funny. But Ringo's pronunciation appears to be correct, because on the Indian Valley Railroad map that we see in mapping it out, it also is Logan's Wash. So I don't know if that was something that got lost by the prop maker or whatever. So actually, when I did my recreation signs, I did Logan's Wash. But in this, I noticed I was like, Logan Wash, because that to me just sounds awkward. Anyway, that's just a random bit of trivia. So I'm pretty sure Logan's Wash would be correct. But that Logan Wash era carried on through the other seasons as well. It was replicated by John Allen as Logan Wash as well. And then some, we always take a look on the wiki. Obviously, we have our first and only cliffhanger that says to be continued at the end, which when my grandma taped these for me as a kid, the tape cut off before that. So I'm sure I would have found that reassuring to know to be continued, because for me, it just ended. And I didn't know that Words Out was kind of part 2. I didn't really know that. And so it felt abrupt going from that to Words Out, where it seems like everything's kind of okay again, and then they get more trains. So I think that was smart for them to put it in there, just for the kids watching who were probably a bit like, oh God, that's not normal. That's not like, usual Shining time. I feel distressed and worried, and I don't know why. Is this like what anxiety feels like? But I think it's to help cut the intensity of the episode, I would think. Like, it's to be continued, don't worry. Like, Shining Time Station is not left in the lurch.
And I do like that when they actually do freeze the shot with the to be continued, that it is with the crew looking decidedly more upbeat. I think that was a good choice, rather than leaving
determined.
It as exactly.
Resolve.
Yeah. That was a good choice.
Yeah, I agree. And then one little fun bit of trivia we also learn, or not learn, but folks have noticed, when you have the phone conversations in the episodes and you hear the sped up audio, they will often use the audio from this scene where Stacey and Harry are talking about the timetables at the beginning. So
yes,
that's
right.
That is a very common. So yeah, that scene carries on in other episodes, but just sounds like. That's my world class impression. You're welcome.
Wow, was that audio ripped right from the episode?
I'm free for, like, if you want to offer me parts or whatever.
You guys must not know. I'm the sped up telephone guy. That's me.
That was my informal edition. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, my goodness. We have fun on this podcast, don't we?
We have fun. I don't know. Do you have much else to add? I don't have a lot else to add, except like maybe that the moral of the episode could be, don't let your excitement get the better of you, and just use your good old common sense, man.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that
don't leave your kids with a fool.
Don't leave your kids with a man named Schemer.
Yeah. I'm going to leave you with this guy called Trouble. It should be fine.
Oh my gosh. Hey,
Taylor Swift reference.
Oh, that's, shame on me now.
I know. That's for you, Alyssa.
Hope you're listening out there.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think, it's just a very, very heavy episode. Well done. Yeah. I mean, that one revision we noted aside about Stacey and Harry just kind of up and leaving. it is a very well done episode, and there's still there managed to be some comedic moments with Schemer, but it's interesting that when they have those comedic moments, there's also this underlying feeling of like, oh, I shouldn't be laughing because like this is not going to end well, you know? Like even when Schemer is like, when he's about to leave and the kids go, well, you can't leave us alone. And he goes, alone? You won't be alone. You'll be with him and you'll be with her. I've never seen two less alone people in my life.
I mean, it's a great line.
It's a great line. But even so, like normally with Schemer lines, you can just laugh outright. But with this one, you're like, oh no, this is just adding fuel to the fire.
It is. And they know what he's doing is wrong. It's kind of sad. How would you rate this bad boy, Mike?
Oh, now that's a good question. I would rate this one a 7.5 out of 10. I think that the dramatic moments are so well done. They are acted so well. Again, Mart Hulswit and Dee Dee, they both do phenomenal jobs. Leonard Jackson, as you pointed out, he doesn't get enough credit for his facial expressions alone. He has some prime facial reactions in his season. And this is some of the best too. Their performances are all splendid. Brian's performance too. He really sells Schemer as, you know, being this kind of sleazy, like two-faced kind of guy. It's a very heavy episode, very heavy in comparison to the rest of the season. So I think this would, I obviously didn't see it when it came out and didn't see it until my adult life, but I can imagine as a kid watching this, I think going from the other episodes of season 1 to this, it would be a massive tonal shift. And I don't know how I would feel if I was a kid watching it, but I think that also speaks to what they were probably going for with this episode, with how serious of a situation it ends up being. So, aside from that, I mean, the jukebox stuff is okay. Doesn't really stand out to me this episode. Tony the Mover, you know, he's an interesting character, but I feel like there's better secondary characters that join into the fray. Interesting side note as well, by the way, I tried to look up and see if Tony the Mover had appeared anywhere else. He is portrayed by hold on, let me go back in my little notes here for our episode. He is portrayed by Robert Hill, and if you look up Robert Hill on IMDb, this is the only role that pops up for him. So
fascinating.
He, I guess he figured he'd peaked. He would never top Shining Time Station, and he was out of the game. So,
I mean, he did lift up Schemer.
He sure did. You got to be a strong man. He's got a lot of muscles on him for sure.
He definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things about this episode, obviously, are the Choice and Thomas stories. I mean, I say this about a lot of Shining Time episodes, but these ones really do match the specific points of the episode really well, because you've got Better Late Than Never dealing with delays on the line, which they are also dealing with at the station. And then when things get serious, you get the slightly heavier episode of Pop Goes the Diesel. So well done to them for being able to not only incorporate the Thomas stories so well, but just crafting the station parts around it so well too. Like, bravo, well done. So yeah, I would say 7.5 out of 10 for me. What about you?
Even though I came to season 1 later in life, I think I was still young-ish. So I would have been, if memory serves me, I still would have been pretty young, if I'm calculating correctly, still probably like 5 or 6. And it was a bit much for me this episode, to be honest, as a kid. It was a lot of emotionality to digest. And so for that reason, I didn't enjoy it. I would avoid it. I remember fast forwarding it. So, I mean, I gave this a 7 out of 10 because I think it's a solid episode. I think, you know, I do think that rewrite suggestion would have made more sense, just given, you know, Harry and Stacy's characters lacking sense in this episode in a way that doesn't totally make sense.
Right.
And the stakes get so high, it just felt scary to watch. And I'm a sensitive being. and I was a sensitive child, so that could also be why. But it's to the point where, you know, I don't remember enjoying the Thomas stories as a kid because I was just so wrapped up in like, oh my God, what is happening? And this is so wrong. And Stacy's going to be so mad. And then it's so sad at the end. And I also feel like the to be continued, like, it's good to have that there, but Words Out is not really part 2. It kind of resolves some of the same things, but it's not a true part 2, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the writing could have been different. I think that they could have split up this arc of stories a little bit so that it didn't all just happen at once, because we got Just Wild About Harry's Workshop, where Schemer is going to like take Harry's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Promises, and Words. Like, it's quite a lot. So I would have spaced out, probably had another regular episode in between, you know, Just Wild and Promises, and had a more focused resolution the next episode. That's just me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I know season 1 that was written quite quickly, and you know, the writers did a great job, but yeah, I'm not totally happy with that because, again, I found it jarring as a kid. It was a bit shocking to the system when it's such a lulling show and then all of a sudden, bam! And then we go back to the lulling episodes. Things still happen, but it's not nearly as, you know, you don't see Stacey visibly upset. And the station isn't, I mean, aside from the last episode where they're going to be closed, but it doesn't feel as scary. So
yeah, I agree.
That's my opinion.
And we value that opinion. That's why we have you on the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. And funnily enough, I didn't see the last episode of the series either as a kid, so I missed out on that. So it would be like lovely season 1, and then bam, 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 whoa, intense episodes, and then, you know, following, and then those episodes that follow, I really enjoyed. Like Too Many Cooks, Things That Go Gahooga, like those are some of my favorites in this season.
100%.
So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Mike O'Donnell, one of the composers of the original Thomas the Tank Engine theme, and I'm here to tell you that I have released a selection of re-recorded themes and songs from the classic shows in a series of albums called the Engine Themes. These albums include a variety of classic themes and songs from the original TV series, as well as a few new compositions. You can purchase these albums on CD or digital download, as well as posters and pin badges. Have a look online at modmusic.co.uk. And for a special offer for Right On Track listeners, you can use the special code ROT20 for a 20% discount on all digital downloads. Be sure to enter the code when making your purchase. Thank you for your support and happy listening. Take care and stay safe.
Okay, we're moving right along to our next episode. This is episode 16, titled Words Out. And the word is out. Thanks to Midge.
Thank goodness.
Although it's not necessarily the correct word at first, but we get there in the end.
It sure is quiet around here.
What do you think's going on, Rex?
Well, offhand, Tex, I'd say, nothing's going on.
Well, that would sure explain why it's so quiet around here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what this place can use?
What?
Some noise!
Gee, I don't remember this song.
So for those who haven't seen it, again, go and watch it, but I will give a little summary here. So it is a quiet day at Shining Time Station. Starts off with the the jukebox band making some much needed noise in a station that they feel is too quiet. And then we have Stacy and Schemer coming in. Now, Schemer has the idea to turn the station into a health club. Genius time. Which, of course, Stacy scoffs at and says, you know, your ideas always end up getting us into trouble, which the previous episode definitely demonstrates.
Mm-hmm.
So Stacy receives a call that no trains will stop at Shining Time today. And Stacy kind of surmises that the Indian Valley Railroad is testing to see if they can do without Shining Time, which is a sad, very sad thought.
Mm-hmm.
We then have Mr. C calling a special meeting, and he, to perk them up, he shows them a jolly old picture machine number, because if you're down, what better than that? We're then introduced to Midge Smoot, or Miss Smoot, the town gossip who learns about the station being closed for the day. She then approaches the kids, who end up telling lies to Midge about them building another huge building and Stacy being made head of the railroad. The kids then, I think kind of realizing their mistake, almost sit on Mr. Conductor, who in his own, gentle way, scolds the children for lying, then tells them a Thomas story that ties into that theme, which is the continuation of the Duck and Diesel trilogy. We then have Schemer and Midge sucking up to Stacy, given her new rumored position as head of the railroad. And in their antics, Schemer ends up giving Midge an old candy bar, specify an old one. She then, not surprisingly, hurts her tooth on it. At that point, the kids fess up that they lied to Midge about the other building and Stacy being head of the railroad. Those lies come into the open, and suddenly the brooch that Midge gave to Stacy, she demands back, and Schemer uninvites Stacy to his mommy's place for dinner, which was going to be a delightful dinner of ants on a log, which, for those who are not aware of that delightful snack as a kid, it is sliced celery with peanut butter and raisins on top, and raw potatoes. Now, that is not a part of Ants on a Log, but just Schemer's special appetite.
Just a nice, refreshing side of raw potatoes to go with your Ants on a Log.
I had it for dinner tonight. No, I do not recommend doing this. Do not do this at home, kids. Somehow Midge hurts her tooth again on the candy bar. She hasn't learned the first time. Screams in pain, and Stacy and Harry, in their good-natured way, decide to help Midge by, despite the Indian Valley Railroad's order that no train stop at Shining Time, they say they are going to stop the next train to Doodle Haven, which was formerly Doodletown, for those that remember early in the series, and put Midge on it, where she will go to her dentist and find some relief. Now, of course, they weren't supposed to stop the train, but it turns out that Midge told everyone in Doodle Haven how wonderful Shining Time is and how kind the staff are there, which is true. The spirit of the place. And she even calls up J.B. King, Esquire, exalted head, persuades him to give them some of their trains back, which is a really lovely end to the episode. And I think it speaks to the importance of, when you have a good experience with somebody working in the public sector, it really means a lot to give positive feedback. And I say this because I actually did this today. I had an experience at a local pharmacy with a lovely employee who was super kind, and I submitted a survey and just to honor their extra effort they put in as an employee. So, and this is sort of a side note, but I think it is really wonderful when you do have good service and somebody goes above and beyond to let them know that they're appreciated, because you don't often get appreciated in, working for the general public.
Very true. It's always nice when people go out of their way to note what a good job you've done.
Mm-hmm. So on that note, like the next time you're at a restaurant and you have a really good experience with a waiter or waitress, let them know at the end of the meal and say, like, thank you so much for you being so kind and attentive, because I can guarantee you'll make their night. And indeed, in this, it actually had such a positive effect that Shining Time is actually, it's looking up. We're away from the total and utter despair of having no trains last episode to having some trains, maybe. So
something is better than nothing.
Up a little bit. You said it, my friend. What are your kind of initial impressions of Words Out?
I definitely like this one more than Promises. Yes. I like that the sense of unease hasn't totally dissipated. Obviously, you start off with just the jukebox band all alone in the station, as soon as they start playing their loud garage rocky music, in come Stacy and Schemer has this crazy idea of starting a health club in the station, just to revitalize it. And, it's interesting that they're leading off with Schemer being back to his more goofy, uninhibited sort of self, pivoting from the very much snaky character that we saw last episode. I guess the best way I can describe it is they're sort of easing the tension throughout the episode. There's this gradual rising of, we were at the very bottom last episode. Now we're just slowly bringing it back up to the top. And by the end of the episode, it does definitely get us into a point where the transition to Too Many Cooks next episode is not, it doesn't feel jarring by any means.
Yeah, I echo that. This episode feels almost like the denouement after what happened last time. Like we're like, ooh, cooling down. And even though Schemer is scheming, it's pretty harmless. He's wearing like, his exercise clothes, and he's not, calling in contractors and putting exercise machines in.
I do really love Schemer's his exercise fit. I think that's probably going to be next time I spend some money on exercise gear. I think I'm going to recreate this outfit as closely as I can. It's just a vibe, sunglasses and all.
Vibe. It's very 80s, and I'm here for it. I enjoy it. I also enjoy silent shots of the station, so I really like the opening. Because it's unusual to see. I mean, not that there's a lot of passengers spending time regularly anyway, but it's fun to see totally empty set, pan across into the jukebox, and then have them making their ruckus. Now, I wrote a little note here. What is the jukebox band noise? Like, what would you even call that sort of song almost? And then Schemer's like snapping along to it.
It's very avant-garde. It's very it reminds me of, if you'd be walking down a suburban street and all of a sudden you'd hear this great big commotion and you see it's the local 14-year-old band just practicing in their parents' garage, and it doesn't sound great, but it's something.
It's kind of rebellious. I think that's why I like it. It feels rebellious to listening to that music.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting that, usually when we hear the jukebox band, they're playing a song that someone requests, but when they're left to their own devices, they're like, let's cut loose,
Let's make some noise. Yeah. What do you think of Midge?
Oh my god, I love Midge Smoot so much. It's crazy to think that this is the only time we see her in this season. I mean, unless you want to count, I guess, 'Tis a Gift. But this is the only time we see her in season 1, and then just how much of a major player she becomes basically right out the gate from the start of series 2. Bobo Lewis is a fantastic actress. I mean, she just
great.
She really, I mean, obviously, again, like with most characters that kind of debut here and become more recurring in the later seasons, they're still, I don't want to say skeletal versions of the ones that we see later, but they're still kind of finding their footing, So she's not totally the Midge Smoot of later seasons, but the essence is still there, and I really love the interplay between her and Schemer, and it's nice to see, like, this is where that all starts, basically. Just the two of them, coming together, trying to win Stacy over when they think she's got this prestigious position on the railway. And, just the whole, just chewing on the candy bar. You raise a good point. How does she hurt her tooth again after the first time? Like,
yes.
I never caught that.
It kills me. I don't know how she, like, because she gives it to Schemer, and then she must have taken it back and just absentmindedly started eating again. But it kind of cracks me up a bit.
She was so furious that the kids lied about Stacy's position that she just takes another, like, rage chomp out of it.
I like that rage chomp, absolutely. I love Bobo's portrayal of Midge. I actually think she nailed the character pretty well off the bat. Like, a lot of her mannerisms and stuff that you see later on are already here. I find her outfit a bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they nailed that. Like, that's sort of like a weird dress flowery thing. Like, it doesn't feel like her yet. I like when she gets into more her sort of a bit fancier, loud hats and, you know, outfits.
Mm-hmm.
This feels a bit sort of like her outfit seems a bit watered down. But Bobo did a fantastic job. Bobo's had I'm just, having a peek at her Wikipedia page right now. She's had an interesting career. She did a lot of stage work similar to Mart Halswit, mostly in the 70s and 80s, it looks like. And it looks like this was Midge Smoot was her most popular or most famous kind of role that she did. She did do other television appearances on Bewitched, The Monkees, That Girl, Gomer Pyle, and USMC.
Oh, we've got to find that group.
I've called the booking agents, every disc jockey in Hollywood, and the recording company.
The hospital?
You don't think we'd find them in a hospital?
No, that's for you, if you don't find them.
Good, I need the rest.
And she lived till she was 72, so she passed away in 1998, not long after she appeared in the last 4 family specials. So, yeah, Bobo, remember her very fondly, and I think she did a great job on the series. It seems like she had a lot of fun with it. Like her and Ginny when they got their vibe,
Oh, yes, especially when Ginny's introduced in season 2. The two of them just, they riff off each other so well, and you really see that in, maybe a little bit in season 2, but definitely in season 3 in the family specials. Like, that dynamic is just so fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Also, it says here she was in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, the 1963 film, which I enjoyed a lot as a kid. And I'm like, I kind of want to rewatch it and see. She was in some other well-known ones, but I want to see her in that role.
I did not realize she was in that. That's crazy.
I know. We'll have to look for her.
Huh.
I was just telling Mike that when I met Mart Halswit recently when I was in New York doing a little reunion, and he mentioned that he spoke at Bobo's funeral in New York, which I thought was really touching. So I feel like a lot of the guest stars probably would have been pals, waiting around to go on in their scenes and whatnot, being flown out from New York, maybe sometimes together.
Mm-hmm.
I would hazard a guess. So, yeah.
It's nice to think that they have a little camaraderie, I feel like the whole cast would have been, one big family, but especially when you've got those smaller factions like the supporting actors and, that's very nice to think about, It
is absolutely. And just one more thought. I really like the end shot in this episode of Stacy at the desk and Matt and Tanya looking out the window. It's like the station is kind of back to its homey self.
Mm-hmm.
I like that conclusion quite a bit. Moving on to some of the more finer details of the episode, what do you think of Be Good to Yourself? The Picture Machine song.
I
feel like you're either going to hate it or love it.
Yeah,
you hate it, don't you? I can tell by your voice.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on this one. I mean, it serves the purpose. It serves the message of, treat yourself a little when you're feeling down and make sure that you're putting yourself number one. But everything that I mentioned about how I love when Jonathan does the for lack of a better word, the stank on Tito's singing voice when he gets a little jazzy. Everything I love about that, I despise in this instance. I don't like it. I don't like the lazy singing. I don't know. Something feels weird about it. Like it feels very very out of place to me. Do you get that vibe at all?
I'm on the other end of the spectrum, my friend here.
Oh.
I'm on the love it. I love this song. I don't know why. I often would sing it as it would just pop into my head. And, be good to yourself. Give yourself a treat.
I mean, it's memorable.
It's memorable. It's hammy. I love the kind of saucy accent.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cartoons and the hippo and the cake and it's weird, but it just stuck with me. But again, this is why, we have our varied opinions. But yeah, I'm at the other end here.
That's totally fair. You know what? We've got to have the differing opinions for an interesting podcast.
We do. This is healthy. We got to agree to disagree.
Exactly.
But I can acknowledge that it's weird, and her voice is, definitely strange. But I don't know why. I just was always like, oh, okay. I'll do myself.
I think it was fun to I can picture you walking around your place and be like, be good to yourself.
I know. It's like a helpful reminder, and I just love, I'm like, oh, yes, I'll give myself a piece of cake. Thank you very much. I've had a hard day. I deserve a treat, Like, I don't mind if I do.
Oh, thank you very much.
I know. Well, thank you to me. I mean, here's a perfect example. The other day, I didn't actually do it, but I was thinking of buying myself flowers because I was having a pretty crappy week. And I didn't end up doing it, but it was the thought that I was like so excited by buying myself flowers. So I credit this song.
No matter how bad things are, remember, you must always be good to yourselves.
And the public domain cartoons are weird. I mean, they just are. You kind of just got to surrender to it. But I think you love it or hate it.
Yeah, you got to just accept at this point that it's part of the shtick of Shining Time. Like, there's going to be some strange, long forgotten public cartoons that are being used here, but that's just the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. That is it. And chugging right along to our Thomas stories here. So we have the 2 concluding episodes of the lovely and delicious and industrial and amazing, exciting Duck and Diesel trilogy. So we have Dirty Work, which consists of mostly Diesel telling lies and the impact of that on Duck, and then Duck leaving for Edward Station. So it's not a super action-heavy, action-packed episode, but it sets up a lot. And it's essential, to use a Thomas word.
It is.
And then we have A Close Shave, which is the lovely, exciting, gripping climax and quite heartwarming conclusion, I think. So what do you think of these 2 episodes, Mike?
I love these ones dearly. These are peak season 2 for me. I love. You're right in that Dirty Work doesn't have as much action, obviously, but I really love the feel throughout the episode. I love the shots of Diesel kind of creeping through the yard and, looking back and forth at the trucks and whispering to them. I really love the slow turning shot of Henry on the turntable, and he just slowly comes around. You see how truly upset he is with Gordon and James, and how they're fuming over these rumors about them. And I think a lot of people kind of feel this too, but the whole sequence of Duck coming back to the yard and then leaving his trucks and then going back to the shed, I love the music in that scene. It's got sort of a brightness to it, but it's also very somber in the delivery, which matches the tone very well. And even like the very last shot of just, you see Duck leaving and he's sort of going around the shed, and then just watching Diesel slink back into his berth in the shed is just like, oh, it's such a good way to end it. I really like it. It's a
really strong ending. I actually think it's probably one of the strongest parts of the episode. You see his face with a tear, him turning on the turntable and then departing around the shed, disappearing, and then Diesel's going into the darkness with that smirk that you see in the Railway series illustrations. They captured very well in his face, especially as he sort of like slinks back, being
100%.
Like, my plan worked, he's gone at last.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think Diesel is one of the characters that, when it comes to translating how their faces looked in the Railway series, I think they did such a good job with Diesel's TV faces. Like it really captures the tone so well.
Yeah, and his model, like I feel like they nailed it. It was a very strong introduction of a character in season 2.
I agree, and I can completely understand why they wanted to keep using him, past when the original stories kind of kicked him off, because it's a fun little model, it's a fun little character, and it's I have no doubt that there is a big sense of his popularity. Despite him
for sure
being the antagonist here. But anyways.
Right.
As you wish, sir. Duck trundles sadly away, while Diesel smirked with triumph.
Yeah, and then a close shave is just classic, right? Like, I don't
close
really
shave
know.
is my favorite.
I don't really know what else I can say about about a close shave. I will say, when I was a kid, I used to love reenacting this. I had a wooden duck, and I would set it up, and I used to. I don't know if I ever had like a little mock house that I would crash him into, but I always used to take like a little sheet of toilet paper, and I would wet it, and I would stick it around the bottom of his face to look like the shaving cream.
Oh my God, that's genius.
I did that so often. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So definitely it made an impact for me, for sure.
Yeah. I think it's one of the strongest Thomas episodes of all time. Like, personally, for me, like, I think is an excellent episode.
Yes.
I love the dialogue at the beginning with Edward and Duck. I love the pacing. The chase is so good. You get such an exciting chase with a wonderful comic. I mean, it's you get the seriousness of the crash with the comedy of having him lathered up.
Yes.
Having Duck lathered up and having his, Mr. Conductor come, and then that great scene of Thomas pulling him out with more of that music. Because, like, the Runaway theme is great in this episode, I think. It's, like, one of my favorite renditions. And then you get the breakdown train music of Thomas, pulling Duck out of the shop. And then coming back home and being like, the engines are sorry and want you back. Like, it feels really authentic. And I feel really happy for Duck.
Yeah.
It's so weird, but I do. I have to say, Dirty Work, I'm not, like, it's probably for me my least favorite out of the trilogy. It's essential and, like, good drama in the story, but I think watching it so many times as a kid, I got tired of seeing the disgraceful, disgusting, despicable over and over again. Like, I watched it so many times that I think that episode got a bit tired for me after a while, but
that's fair. Yeah.
Still, like, they're all great. Like, watching as a 3-pack, as the little trilogy, perfect.
Oh yeah.
Peak.
100%.
Yeah. What do you think of Jesse James?
Jesse James was a lad that killed many a man. He robbed the Danville train. But that dirty little coward
yeah, no, this isn't for me. I'm not a big fan of this one.
It feels a little out of place, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, this is one of those things that I always find it funny that you think of the Thomas stories and how they went out of their way to change things to be a little softer for kids. Like, we don't have the fat controller, we have Sir Topham Hatt. And, Thomas doesn't tell Henry, you're too fat, you need exercise. He says, you're too slow. Things that are a little bit more PG. And then you get the jukebox. That line. Yeah, I know. Then you get to the jukebox, and they're singing songs about Jesse James robbing banks and killing people. And
it's a good point. Like, anything goes with the jukebox band songs. Like, they talk about people completing suicide, murdering, robbing, falling into rivers and drowning.
Yeah, it's a no man's
It's the
land.
Wild West.
Yeah,
exactly. But they're like, Sir Topham Hatt, fat is too hard for the audiences. It's a really good point, actually. Like, they kind of missed that a bit.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the sort of dichotomy between the two. But
maybe they figure kids don't listen to lyrics as much. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Definitely as an adult, it stood out to me. I was very taken aback by that. But that aside, this song doesn't really do it for me. This is not my favorite of the jukebox band offerings for not just season 1, but I think overall it doesn't really stick out to me very much. We'll have some better ones for sure.
We will, and again, I think Jonathan does a great performance. I think he has fun with his songs, and he makes it like very he hams it up and makes it fun.
He does, yeah.
And it's a fun song, but it's a little out of place. It feels like some of the songs in this part of the season are lagging a bit for me, like because they have some real bangers, and we're gonna get some great ones in the episodes coming up. Oh my god, are we gonna get some good ones? Like some of my favorites of like not the season, probably the entire series of Shining Time.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, when you hear these, I'm like, it's okay, but doesn't really fit. I mean, I guess Jesse James was a bit of a bad boy, so it fits with Telling Lies and Diesel, kind of, but it's the end of the episode, and it is an odd song for them to sing about success at the station. I think this doesn't fit.
It's an odd celebration choice.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Do you have any trivia for this bad boy?
One thing that I did find when I was perusing the wiki, when Stacy is on the phone and having a conversation, what is on the other end is actually recordings, sped up versions of recordings, I should say, of the poet T.S. Eliot, and he is reading poems from, I can't remember the full name. I'll have to look it up here. The full name of his collection, but what would eventually become the very famous play Cats. He's reading two little selections from Cats.
Which are The Naming of Cats and Growl Tiger's Last Stand.
That's right. And what was... Hold on, let me see if I can find... Because the name of the collection that they come from is very... I always love... My grandpa actually has a copy of like one of the original...
Fascinating.
Original runs, I guess, of that book where Cats kind of came from. And every time I see the full title... just like, wow, that's a real mouthful. Yes, it's Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. So, two selections from there, as you said. The Naming of Cats and Growl Tiger's Last Stand. So they just took recordings of that, sped it up, and there you go. That's what Stacy is hearing on the other end of the telephone.
And I guess it was public domain at that point, even though it was sped up. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think... When was that published? I think that was 1938 or 1939. So yeah, it probably would have been.
It's odd. I mean, I guess it's a little nod to New York, with this season being filmed in New York and Cats. But
true, yeah.
Random. And bless the person who actually like slowed the audio down and listened and then Googled it.
Yeah. I don't know how you would have figured that one out, but that's very interesting choice to use for, especially when you think most of the stuff that's sped up is kind of sourced from within the show itself. It's interesting that they would have chosen something outside the realm of Shining Time, right?
No. Why didn't they just pick another piece of dialogue?
Hey, it's just, again, they go the extra mile to make it interesting for us.
It's weird. Anything else?
I think other than Midge Smoot joining the cast, I think that's about all the trivia that I've got here. But what about you?
So I noticed, funnily enough, that the schedule board at the beginning of the episode is completely full again.
Oh.
After they've had all their trains canceled. So that was a little mistake, because obviously in the last episode we see it's about half full. It should be almost empty.
Interesting. I did not notice that.
So just a little continuity error there. It's packed. It's a full schedule board. So interesting little thing there. And then I noticed that some of the incidental music, like when Schemer's exercising, seems new to me. So I think maybe this could be another case of the final cut missing some of the incidental music.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I could be misremembering a little bit. I'd have to go back and look at my VHS, but some of it I was like, oh, I don't remember that cue there. So, because I know for another episode, it seems they broadcasted the slightly not unfinished version that didn't have every bit of music, and these, or something like that. And these are the VHS master dubs. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe they got a wrong copy or whatever. But yeah, I can't guarantee that. But that was something that seemed like it to me. And in terms of kids' activities, I wrote "not telling lies?" ? LOL. Don't tell lies, kids, even if you think they are for the good. Badges was the activity this this episode, which I think was nice. They kind of snuck in, and it was cute how they made Mr. C like a little smiley face badge. It was kind of nice. I noticed there was like a lot of encouragement of each other. You know, you get Mr. C encouraging them all at the beginning of the episode with his chipper song, and then the kids making badges for all of them to cheer everyone up at the end of the episode. So I thought that was nice. It's nice. And similarly, with our morals, don't tell lies, even if you think they're well-intentioned. Another one, I think a good deed can go a long way, even if it's against the rules. Sometimes you just gotta do it. So we see that with Stacey and Harry. You know, It wasn't necessarily the correct thing to do, but it was a really good-hearted and kind act. And in the end, it paid off, even though they were slightly breaking the rules. And then I had to include Mr. C's, the 3 do's. Do stand up straight. Do tell the truth. Do not ever, ever sit on top of Mr. C. He is not an egg.
I love that delivery.
It was really charming, I thought. I love that. Do you hear me? I am not an egg.
I love Ringo's delivery with that line. It's so good.
It's so tongue-in-cheek and fun. Like, it's just so funny, the idea of them sitting on top of him, and he's like, oh, you. Actually, that's where he should have gone, oh, you.
Just insert the soundbite.
Yes. Bring out some of that sort of, British. Oh, man. Any other final thoughts on this ep, Mike?
Yes, it's good that we are back to the usual feel of Shining Time with the end of this episode. And, we've seen an interesting little 2-part arc where we've gone from being at the lowest point, and now we've come out of the darkness, and we're trudging forward into some finer territory for the end of the season. So yeah, this signals, much like in the episode itself, it signals an upturn for the series going forward. So yeah, this one leaves me feeling good at the end, I will say.
Cool. What would you give it out of 10?
I would bump this one up. I would give this one an 8 out of 10. As much as I don't personally enjoy the Picture Machine song or the jukebox song,
you're the one good friend you need.
I'm just gonna think of you every time I hear that now. Oh man. Yeah, those ones aside, I mean, it's a great episode. Really love the introduction of Midge Smoot, and just the little journey that the kids go on as well of learning that you shouldn't tell lies no matter how bad of a situation it seems, and just always be truthful. I love their little thing with Ringo, Mr. Conductor, I should say, where they start out the episode lying and he kind of reprimands them for it. Then they learn the error of their ways, and they try and make good on their promise to never do it again, and he's proud of them for that. So yeah, that's a fun little part. And watching everything transpire with Stacey and Harry and Midge Smoot, and them making their plan to get her to Doodlehaven, and how that good deed eventually results in them getting some of their trains back. It's a very satisfying turnaround. And of course we get 2 incredible Thomas episodes that end a very nice little trilogy. So yeah. I feel good in giving this one a solid 8.
Groovy. A couple things that I just was thinking of. One being, I'm proud of the kids, because when they realize they've done something wrong, they kind of know right away. They, after the thing with Mr. C, they go right up to Midge and tell her flat out that they were lying. And I think it's very courageous to stand up like that in front of people and say, like, okay, I wasn't telling the truth. So good job, kids.
Well done.
Courageous. And I am intrigued by Doodlehaven being no longer Doodletown. I'm like, is it a haven because Midge Smoot went and got her tooth fixed there? Is it a haven now because it's bigger than a town and there's more people living there, and that's why Midge Smoot and her sister apparently live there? It's a mystery.
It sure is.
That only Shining Time obsessed people like me would ever ask. But this episode is another 7 out of 10 for me. I enjoy this episode probably a little bit more than the former because it's less intense. That being said, it doesn't stand out a lot for me. I really enjoy being introduced to Midge Smoot, and it's fun, but it's just not my favorite. I know there's a lot more good to come, so it's solid, but yeah, it's not like a go-to episode that I would go and watch. I would go to Too Many Cooks over this.
I'm with you there, my friend.
Like I where the music is on point and the story is fun and snappy, and and I do really enjoy how they wrote Midge Smoot and how she was responsible for them getting their trains back. That was really good. I do think that they could have bridged the gap between the two episodes a little bit better, because again, it just feels abrupt at the beginning where it's like, everything's happy, fine, I'm going to do a health club. I'm like, you almost got fired, and now you're joking around with Schemer. It just felt a bit abrupt.
Fair.
To me. Or like a lot of time had passed when I don't think that was meant to. So maybe tighten up the writing a bit, and I'd bump it up to probably an 8 or 8.5.
Totally fair. I completely get it.
So, but this is my most feared moment in season 1. So getting that over with feels kind of good.
We've really jumped the hurdle, haven't we?
It always scares me. It makes me sad, just thinking that the station could be at stake, and all the hard work could all be dashed. They could be fired. I mean, I don't know. It shook me up a bit as a kid. So I'm happy that by the end of this episode, the station has kind of returned to normal again. Well,
worry not, my friend. We get a brief reprieve from the dangers of the station.
It's very harrowing. It's a lot for my little heart. Oh, man.
Hi, I'm Ken Bianco Jr. from Train World, where we have the greatest selection of model trains and train sets. We also are proud to carry Bachman's full line of Thomas & Friends products. With a large variety of different brands and scales, we have the best items for your model train collection. You can find Train World on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, where you can see our latest products and even be invited to all our events like Thomas Tuesdays. Visit trainworld.com today to find your next addition to your model railroad journey.
We've got some exciting episodes coming up.
We sure do.
We really do. And I really like the end of season 1. We are getting into episodes 17 and 18 next time. We have Too Many Cooks and Mapping It Out, which are peak episodes for me. I love them.
Yeah, 100%.
Mapping It Out is a personal favorite of mine as well. So
I agree.
They killed it towards the end of this season. So
we are going to have fun next time.
We are going to have a lot of fun. So stay tuned. And thanks as always for listening. Feel free to drop some notes in the comments or get in touch with us if you have certain notes or different opinions or things that you've noticed or would like to comment. We always love feedback, and we don't hear from our listeners much because we kind of just float these out into the ether. So if you do want to contact us or make a post about it on Twitter and tag us or whatever, feel free. We're always happy to hear about how you're liking it, dialogue with you a bit. Please, engage.
Yes, comment, subscribe, share it with your grandma, share it with your friends, show your parents. Just spread the time to shine love around.
Please do. And even introduce it to your friends that don't even know the show, and maybe they could watch it and just see what they think and might have a bit of fun with it, because the show isn't just for train lovers. It's got interesting morals and fun, and it's a little glimpse into 80s children's TV. So share the love.
It's always nice to go back in time and have a little time capsule of days long gone,
That's it. So thank you to our faithful listeners. Thank you to our people behind the scenes, our lovely editor, Fred, and our creator, basically, Tom, the lovely Tom Denham. And we will see you all next time on Time to Shine. I have been Adrian.
And I have been Mike.
And we'll see y'all further down the track. Bye, everybody.
Bye.